Hello, everybody. This is Stephanie Hausman. I am with the IPA. We are going to let our attendees join us here at the moment. I can see people are dialing in. If you can hear us, go ahead and put in the chat panel. For my view right now, it is on the right-hand side. Just let us know to make sure that you can hear us. And it looks like, oh, good. We've had a few technical issues today. And so now we have some, all of our presenters are getting in right now. Perfect. Again, if you can hear us, just let us know in the chat feature. If one person could do that for us, that would be lovely to make sure everything is working properly today. Perfect. Thank you very much, Jessica and Alex. So welcome everybody. This is the IPA's 2020 awards ceremony. This is something that we were planning on having at our Innovative Payments Conference this year, but unfortunately due to COVID, we are wrapping everybody up here online and making sure that we hand out our awards to all of our wonderful winners. Hopefully those of you that registered early in the process, hey Lorraine, can you hold up that koozie? Making her do some work in the back end. Hopefully everyone received their koozies and bottle openers in the mail, so I hope everyone is celebrating with us today. I wanted to go ahead and introduce Lori Bertsky, who's the Vice President of Product Management, Prepaid and EBT at FIS. Lorraine DeBonis, Director of Corporate Communications at Ubiquity, and Ben Jackson, are the IPA's one and only COO. They are joining me today here. Lorraine and Lori were also part of our IPA Awards selection committee. So I just want to thank them for being a part of that this year and last year as well. Our awards were created as a way to celebrate our members and to showcase what everyone in the payment sphere is doing. And so Lori and Lorraine, could you tell us about some things that you've found through our selection process and going through the awards and just reviewing all the different content on some tips that people could take away with them today to make their awards applications even stronger for next year, so we can just blow everybody out of the water and have the most amazing programs and submissions available to folks. Are there any tips and tricks you could share with us? And Lorraine, I'm going to—
You're on mute.
Yeah, you might be on mute there for a second. Anyhow, Lori, is there anything to say?
Wait,
to put you on the spot.
Go ahead, Lorraine.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
We can.
Can you hear me now? Okay, now it's probably, we were trying to do it through the phone because
Well, Lorraine just went out again.
Okay, I'll give you some tips. So I think we know that there are so many exciting prepaid programs going on, and I think that part of what I would probably do is keep some notes during the year so that you're not waiting until the end to submit when when you've got a deadline, because Stephanie's sending us these things are due and then we forget. And then, when we call and, we figure it out, we run quickly and try to do it. So I would probably think about, when you're going through the year and things that you're implementing, how do you do it? How do you think about that a little bit ahead of time? It's not very difficult to fill out the form. It's just probably that, a lot of people are nervous about it and, need to get it done. And then, I think another big thing is just how do we help the consumers? I mean, we have such great categories, B2B problem solver. You guys are doing that and making things more efficient and more effective for businesses, just submitting those things. I don't know, Lorraine's way better at this one than me.
Well, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so sorry about the technical problems. So Lori, you and I have judged a lot of awards over the last decade plus. And I think, sometimes the thing that people forget is like your marketing materials are great, but we know the industry better than the average consumer. We know the industry better than your corporate client. So you really need to help us understand how what you're doing is better than your competitors. And give us numbers, give us something to go on. And if they're confidential numbers, let put that on the form, and or even, you know, if you still don't feel comfortable, talk to the organizers and make sure that we can respect that confidentiality, but just giving the judges more to go on to say, this is really moving the needle, this is really adoption is taking off, or whatever those metrics might be. I think another thing, testimonials, and that comes through in some of the ones we'll talk about later, but hearing anecdotes and real stories about how the products have helped change people's lives or improve their businesses or help them, you know, just make it more real for us. So I think those would be my top tips.
Well, and let me add something here about the importance of these awards, and that it's always nice to win an award for your own company, but it's important because it does a couple of things for the industry as a whole, right? One is it gives us a story to tell that goes beyond, as Lorraine and Lori both mentioned, kind of the marketing, right? We can say, we've stepped back and we've evaluated these programs, and we want to recognize them because they truly are doing something special. The other thing that it does is it helps us convey the value of the industry when we're talking to people like regulators and legislators and other folks who are interested in what's happening in the world of payments. And finally, you never know when your work is going to inspire somebody else to do something very interesting. So that's also an important part of why we do this and how we try to make sure that we are not only recognizing your good work, but using your good work to help advance the industry that we all work in.
Yeah, and wait, I did think of one other thing, which is that we're not just prepaid anymore. So I know that, and a lot of the things that prepaid, maybe the underlying technology, but a lot of the things that we're making better and improving and making more efficient, et cetera, is not a prepaid product. So I would kind of think beyond that as well. I think you guys are doing a lot of things and involved in a lot of things, and maybe we're still a little pigeonholed into that just because that's what we've always been, right? And we're, you know, payments as a whole.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely. It's definitely, we've moved beyond this notion of here's a card, here's a plastic card that's preloaded with some funds, and now somebody can go out and spend it, to here's a way to really enable the digital economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Thank
should we
you.
kick it off?
Let's do this. Our first award will be for our B2B problem solvers. Lorraine and Lori, why don't you talk a little bit about why this submission stood out, and announce our winner?
Sure. So we've seen an explosion in products really aiming at the SMB market, you know, not necessarily served well by large banks in the past. But really looking at a program that doesn't just enable payments. I mean, that's step one, right? Enabling the payment is great, but what are the other value adds that you can build around a product to make it even more useful for the small business owner. So that was what came through in this for this winner. So one of the main points for small businesses is being able to pay suppliers, right? And so their suppliers might be even smaller businesses. So how do you make it easy? You know, how do we get paper out of the system, make it more efficient for you, make it more efficient for your suppliers? So when we were looking at this category, again, this was somebody who really helped solve both problems. So helps the small business send out a payment. I'm sorry, guys, I'm nervous. You'd think being on a stage was harder, but I think, you know, not in the audience is a little bit more difficult. So bear with me, we'll get through this. But and I really I am excited about this one, because so this is a program where you're a small business, you can send out an email And that is all you need to do to get paid. And the supplier can click on the email, and then they can choose if they want to pay you through ACH from their bank account, or if they want to do it through a virtual card. And but the value adds that I was talking about earlier was having this dashboard that is really convenient for the business to be able to see. So, okay, track their payments, track what's coming in, what's going out. So it's not just tracking expenses, but it's also tracking the receivables coming in. And Lori, do you want to add anything before I?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Say
No,
who it is?
No, go ahead.
So again, it's like it's doing the ease of P2P that we see all the time with the the faster payments, but taking that into the B2B space and having those value adds around the full financial picture. And so the winner of the B2B Problem Solver Award is Bento Pay. Yay!
Yay! Congratulations to Bento. And normally we would, hopefully next year when we do have, fingers crossed, our conference, we would invite them to say something a little bit more difficult with the virtual platform, but we congratulate them and look forward to celebrating in person, hopefully in the very near future. So a little bit of a transition here. Lori and Lorraine, let's talk about the consumer space. We all read all of our different updates, all of the different articles that are sent around, are on the different calls that the IPA does. But what are you seeing come out interesting in the consumer space?
Lorraine, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Well, and I just wanted to say too that and Ben, you alluded to this in the beginning, that having good stories to tell about the industry is important for a lot of reasons. And for me, Consumer Champion has a special place in my heart, because how many times have we seen the headlines or the negative stories saying, prepaid is predatory, or there's this emerging payments product and the company is just out to get the consumer. And so really being able to say, no, I've talked to so many of you guys on the call and over the years, and just people in this space are passionate about helping people. So the headlines don't ever want to say that. So when we get a chance as an industry to really showcase and shine a spotlight on the positive things that we are doing and how we are championing the consumer, I think it's just it's one of my favorite categories, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I've seen it so much also during COVID and the pandemic, and all of the things that prepaid has been able to do, not only with facilitating the stimulus payments, but also, we've been able to facilitate people being able to use their EBT cards online, which they were never able to do before. They couldn't go out, so they needed to go to Walmart.com and go in and be able to use their card online because they couldn't go to a store, so that things could be, foods and supplies could be delivered to them. We also have been able to facilitate different municipalities and city and state governments giving out stimulus money. And of course, being able to do that really fast. And it's just so easy. Now we can do things with, as Ben was talking about before, the digital and virtual space, being able to get someone those funds instantly. So certainly seen a lot of that during this time as well for consumers.
Well, and Lori, I think you can probably speak to this pretty well, but the one thing that we hear a lot is a lot of people talk about how do you help underserved people or underbanked people, or how do you help people who are in tough circumstances. And lots of people will talk about that. But this industry, the prepaid and the payments innovation industry that's grown off of that prepaid platform, they actually do help, as opposed to, well, we'll give you a check and figure it out on your own, or we'll figure out a way to give you some cash and you're going to have to figure out the rest of it on your own, to your point, right? people who use these products now have tools for doing things like shopping online or getting delivery or getting access to other information in addition to just making a transaction.
Yeah, and there's so many benefits now. I mean, a lot of our program managers and issuers are offering cash back. They offer mobile apps. Things are just right at your fingertips. You can see it all on your phone. You can get instant issued versus a lot of large issuers and credit and debit banks can't even do an instant issued card. You have to go to your branch. So, I mean, it's pretty cool, all the stuff that, you know, we were able to do.
And I think we're also, a lot of the trends have just built upon each other and are continuing to become important, and more important is the personal financial management piece, that financial wellness, that again, the value add. So the payment, enabling the payment is great, but it's only the first step, or enabling the funds receipt, that's great. But how do you help consumers manage their overall finances, or, you know, pay bills without getting a late fee? It's and manage their cash flow. So if they are having shortfalls, what are the ways that you can do that and help? And that's only going to help with stickiness, something we've always wanted to improve, right? So making sure those products are used long term and not just the one and done. So but I think that's a good lead into talking about early wage access.
I know. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about our consumer champion and who we have awarded this one to. I'll give you a little teaser because we've kind of talked about some of the things that it does, but another great thing that it does is the on-demand pay or earned wage access. We've really seen the need for this grow during this time. With COVID, I've read some statistics that we've seen an increase of 400% in a week of when consumers need to get their pay now. And if you're working and you've worked 10 hours, then why shouldn't you get paid for 10 hours now and not wait for that normal ACH cycle that happens every 2 weeks? So we've seen that, which has been a great trend, and how we facilitate that is through prepaid cards, specifically for those gig workers and those underserved. For gig workers that have flexible hours, well, how do I have to wait if I have 3 jobs, and how do I get paid and all these things? So prepaid is a great solution for those things. So our winner for this, we have 2 submissions that were winners because they submitted the same thing. So Stephanie, keep me honest on this one, which is Pay Active with both Brinks and Central Payments.
Yes, and congratulations to both companies. Well, all 3 companies, really. Yes, Lori's correct. We actually had both Brinks and Central Payments submitted on behalf of Pay Active, and we decided that all 3 had to be awarded. So that is, it speaks to to their submission. So congratulations to Pay Active with Brinks and Central Payments. Well deserved.
Yeah, really cool.
And one thing I wanted to just add quickly about the program, and I think that you know, having those 3 companies as winners shows that you have the Pay Active service being used on a payroll card through Brinks. So they're adding value to their payroll card program by having this service. And then with Central Payments is the Pay Active card that a consumer could go to the website if they wanted to start using Pay Active and maybe their employer doesn't have Pay Active yet. So it's just another way to reach the consumer, whether it's through you know, the payroll card and making that a more valuable tool by having these added services. So it's not just the early wage access, but some of that personal financial management tools that I was talking about earlier, and also having some safeguards in there. Because one of the things when we first talked about this during judging, I was like, oh, early wage access sounds good, but are you going to be taking too much money and then at the end of the month you don't have your you still have a shortfall. So I think having some built-in guardrails, you can only take 50% of the pay, I think is what it was.
Yeah, you take a portion of it. Yeah.
So there are safeguards built in there. And okay, sorry, I'm excited. I told you Consumer Champion was my favorite, guys.
Okay, so our next award.
We love it when you're passionate, Lorraine.
Yes. What? What?
We love passion. So sorry, Lori, as I cut you off there for a second.
Oh,
Innovation.
No,
let's talk about innovation.
let's talk about innovation. So Lorraine, you were going to.
So yeah, that's a little topic, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm gonna start. Okay. Okay, so let's see, innovation. Well, I think the thing that's nice to see right now is that it hasn't stopped just because we're dealing with this global crisis. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less from the group of folks on the call and the industry at large. You know, we're all about solving problems. This is a big one, and there are a lot of ancillary problems that come follow, you know, not being able to get to the office, or you know, there's just a whole host of issues, and companies are stepping up and helping and finding new ways to reach consumers in their time of need. So like you mentioned with the BT and being able to use that online, and I'm sure there were you know, traditionally fraud concerns around that, and you have to manage for that now. But as far as other innovations I've seen, so this kind of gives a sneak peek on the winner here, but being able to tap into benefits that such as things that we might take for granted, like booking an Uber to go to the doctor, for example. But if you don't have a credit card, how do you do that? So that's one of the things that I've seen with the health program that we're going to be talking about a little bit more.
Well, I think that Stephanie should tell us who the winner is now, because you already kind of mentioned it.
Yes, and the winner for our innovation innovation award is Incom for their health program, as Lorraine and Lori have just talked about. So congratulations to Incom. We're looking forward to again celebrating in person with you, hopefully shortly.
And I think we need to explain what the program is. So you know, Incom's been in healthcare for a long time. So this is a multi-purse benefit card. So it combines the over-the-counter benefits with wellness and rewards incentives, healthy food. Now it has the Uber, there's a partnership with Uber Health and American Logistics, where you can book your rides to the doctor using your over-the-counter or using your multi-purse healthcare product, right? So Lori, maybe do you want to talk about the SKU level?
Yeah. Yes.
The fun technology stuff behind that, because obviously from a user standpoint, it just works and it's easy and it's great, but there's some partnerships and other things that technology-wise that have to happen first.
Yeah, and I think that's such a cool part, is that as a consumer, and let's say that I'm getting benefits from an insurance company or from the government, it actually can work either way, right? So let's say that I'm getting these benefits, and so what Incom can facilitate is me being able to get those benefits from the company and being able to use those for the Uber ride, and then as well I could use those same to when I go to the farmer's market to be able to buy those oranges and apples, and it's going to make sure that I'm buying those particular items and not taking the Uber to the liquor store and buying liquor. So it's really cool that it goes down to that item level in order to make sure that that consumer is getting healthy habits and, you know, getting the way to get there and use it and spend it. And it's all facilitated within a single card. So it's super neat.
And I think too, anything that you can do to help drive usage, make it easier for the consumer. So if you have this wellness program and say healthy eating is a part of it, and you get benefit, you get extra coupons or whatever the reward is for making healthy food choices, you're improving the member health. They're having a better experience because they like to get the rewards and they can redeem them easily. So it just builds on the utility of the program, but also fostering behaviors that hopefully will, make the member healthier, maybe reduce overall medical expenses.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's a big goal
I
for
think
this,
that
of course.
that's a good, everybody wins.
That's right. No, only when Incom wins on this one.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay,
But
so we have one more, right?
We do, and I was going to say it was a nice segue there for Everybody Wins, because there's a little bit of a backstory on our next award. So as we were going through our submissions, we had a tough time deciding between two winners in one particular category. And one of the nice things about being part of the IPA and this award selection committee is we decided to make up a new category on the spot because we felt that both winners or both submissions really needed to be recognized. And one of those stood out because of the small business aspect of their award submission. So what we decided to do was to create a small business innovation award. Excuse me. So Lori, I'm going to toss it back to you to talk about this nomination and why they were selected.
Yes, great, thanks. So yeah, I totally agree with everything that Stephanie just said, that we were just blown away by this particular submission as well, just because it was, a little different than what we normally see. And it kind of goes back to, I guess, what we had talked about earlier was how do you make your submission, different and unique and really stand out. And of course, this time has been so much more sensitive than even when we talked about the judging of this, right? That small mom and pop business owners are always short on time. They're always, scrambling to make ends meet. 60% of failed businesses cite cash flow issues as to the reason why they fail. And then I was talking to someone today specifically on our merchant solutions side that was saying that the number one reason that businesses want to have access to their money right away is for payroll. So how can we facilitate that and do that faster and better? And the winner of this category, can I say who it is now?
Yes, please.
Go for it.
Let everybody know.
Okay, it's Kabbage. You guys are supposed to clap. Okay, Ben even clapped. That's awesome. They've done such great things especially during COVID, that they've really changed their whole business model as well. So we already had been like, they're going to win, and now they've even done neater stuff. So I think that's a really, they facilitated a lot of the Paycheck Protection Program loans to small businesses with 5 or fewer employees. Really neat. Lorraine, do you want to comment on this one?
Sure. So, I think it's telling again that we have 2 winners here in a fairly small number of awards overall, and 2 of them are focused on the SMB market, and where we recognized Bento Pay for enabling businesses to make payments to their suppliers. Yeah. Kabbage is doing the opposite in helping businesses get paid. And so again, using for Kabbage, in Kabbage's case, they're using a unique link for invoicing and payment, so they can make it easy for their suppliers to pay them. Or sorry, not suppliers. Who would it be? Their partners to pay them. And so again, being able to just manage the cash flow and enabling payments, but building services that around the whole business. So I think that was what stood out to us, and the ease of use, and also the usage that we saw. So thank you for sharing metrics. We love metrics.
Yeah.
Yes, metrics are wonderful. They do help us a lot as we're going through the selection process. And I want to say a huge thank you to Lorraine and Lori for volunteering to be on our selection committee this year. You guys have been so helpful, great to work with, and I really do appreciate all the hours that you put in reading and adjusting as we move everything online. So thank you very much.
No problem.
And now we are going to transition a little bit over to some individual awards that the IPA would like to recognize. And with that, I'm going to turn everything over to Ben Jackson.
Yeah, so thank you, and thank you to Lorraine and Lori. One of the things that we always have at the IPA is ideas. We're always trying to do new things for our members, and we're always trying to create valuable content and information. And as Lori and Lorraine have demonstrated, it would be impossible to do that without the support of our members. And not only the fact that you are members, but the fact that your people get involved in the things that we try to do. And so this is obviously retroactive, and we're looking back to 2019. But one of the things that we did in 2019 was we got some folks together. We put together a lot of effort into updating our AML BSA guide for prepaid programs and for identifying the recommended practices for identifying and preventing and mitigating fraud. And so we wanted to recognize with our SCIBA individual awards, two of the people who helped with that. One is Cheryl Levy, who is a prepaid program AML BSA manager at FIS. And the other is Jill Point, who is the Security, Risk, and Financial Crimes Officer at Capital Services. So we wanted to say thank you to both of them. Thank you both for working very hard on that and helping us provide very good and useful content to our members. Lots of folks have come to me, they've requested that, they've said they found it very interesting. And by the time that we updated it, it was really in need of an update because so much has changed and so many innovations have happened that we had to kind of bring it forward. So thank you both for that. And then our last individual award is and we want to first thank our sponsor, Baird Home. Our last individual award is the Terry Maher Award. And I believe, Eli, are you here? We have Eli Rosenberg from talk about this award and where it came from and what it is. Eli?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So the Maher Award is named after our partner at Baird Home, Terry Maher, who passed away suddenly back in August of 2014. And I'm sure there's some people on the call who remember Terry and had a chance to work with him. But if you did not, he was a really big part of the association, particularly early on in its development, and was a real staple at IPA events, a resource for association members, and generally just a great guy to be around. And maybe more than anything else, those that knew Terry and had a chance to work with him always noted how giving he was and how selfless he was with his time. And efforts to improve prepaid and the payments industry in general. Always willing to hop on a call with anyone that wanted to chat, whether it was billable or not. He was always available and willing to talk to anyone that needed some assistance or just wanted to talk through an issue, and was a big part early on in the association and in developing some of the documents that we've been using and working on even today, and including the initial version of the BSA AML document that Ben just discussed, the glossary that we've put out a revised version of recently. So really contributed a lot of time and energy to the association and the industry in general. And so this is a great award that gives us an opportunity to honor someone who really shares in that legacy of contributing to the industry in a selfless manner and giving their time and their energy to improve prepaid payments for all of us. And so I'd like to sincerely congratulate this year's winner. And with that, I'll pass it back to Ben to make that announcement.
Yeah, so thanks. And what I want to say is the person who we're giving the award to this year really does embody all of those traits, and is also a person who has always been available to help us, always been around to sort of give information and support, and who has always tried to advance the industry and has been around the industry doing that work for a long time. And was also the person who led the effort to update our BSA AML document, and that's Lori Britsky. Lori, we are giving you the
What?
Yes, thank you very much for everything.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know this. What?
Yay!
So congratulations.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
It was well deserved, and we want to thank you for everything that you've done over the years
Oh
and even recently. So
my gosh. I did not know this at all. I don't even know what to say. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I don't know what to say. Thanks, Mom, or I don't know. Thank you so much, though. Wow, I'm blown away. I'm speechless for the first time in my entire life.
well, thank you very much for everything that you've done and for being a big supporter of the industry and the IPA through all of its incarnations and names and the work that we've done. We know that we'll be bugging you a lot more in the future. So remember this warm, fuzzy feeling when I'm calling you and annoying you. Your help.
Okay. Oh, thank you guys so much. I'm so
Absolutely.
honored.
And,
Wow.
you know, as I have said to people in the past, you know, Lori is one of those folks who I like to sometimes play Stump the Professor with, because if I have a question that I just have no idea even how to begin answering, Lori is the person that I can go to and start to get things figured out. So
Thanks, you
thank you
guys.
again.
That's really neat.
And I believe that concludes our formal program, and unless there's anything else.
Unless anyone has any last closing thoughts, I just wanted to thank everybody for participating with our awards program here online today. And congratulations to all of our winners. Lori, well deserved. It was very difficult keeping it from you during our practice session. Lorraine kind of strong-armed us after you signed off yesterday, so for some behind-the-scenes information there. But again, thank you so much for all that you do for the IPA. We really do appreciate it, and thank you to everybody who participated in the chat and just participated in the award ceremony in general. Congratulations to our winners. You'll all be receiving trophies in the mail, so be on the lookout for those. And if you have any questions, we look forward to the nominations coming in here for next year. And if anyone has any questions before the nomination process starts again for the next year, please reach out to me. My name's Stephanie Hausman, and you can find all my contact information over at ipa.org. So congratulations, and we'll see you all next time, hopefully in person.
Congratulations,
Better
Lori.
things in the coming year.
Congratulations, everyone.
Bye.
Right, thank you.
Bye.